I want to share with you my story of raising money as a millennial. It took me 11 months to do it, and I want to share it because I hope that if you're raising money, that you can shave off half the time, if not more, and spend the time going back to business. So one of the first things that's really important to recognize as a millennial is that there are certain advantages that we have and a lot of disadvantages. And I think one of the key disadvantages that you have as a millennial is that you don't have as much of a social network as maybe a more established or a serial entrepreneur would have. And this is really important because for us, one of the first things that we did that really helped us fundraise was to join an accelerator program. Now, everybody talks about accelerator programs, and everyone talks about kind of how sexy they are and how interesting they are. But the key thing for you to recognize as a millennial, as a 20-something that maybe doesn't have the Google network, that doesn't have the network from HP, from a giant company, that accelerator program is going to be your network. And that's going to be absolutely key to raising your first round of financing. One of the things that we did is we joined 500 startups, and that program was about 4 months long. And what I did in particular that really helped me was to start building relationships. And so this is another piece of advice that I would give you, which is start building relationships yesterday. Whether you are part of an accelerator program or whether you're working at a small or a big company, it's really important that the relationships that you start with now carry you through the rest of your life. So when I started at 500 startups, the first 3 weeks, I spoke to 17 founders. And what that did is that I just started to build really meaningful relationships. Now, building relationships has to be genuine and it has to be authentic. But the important thing about building relationships with founders is that when you find founders that you really jive with, that you really connect with, you want to make sure to keep that relationship going because you are going to get introductions to investors through the founders that are already part of their portfolios. It's like a friendship network. In many ways, you want to think about it kind of like dating. If I just meet you and I tell you, listen, I've got the perfect guy or gal for you. And you go, well, Tracy doesn't really know me that well. What can she really know about my preferences? Yeah, maybe you'll take the date, but you might not be excited about it. Now, if I had known you for 5 years and I really knew your preferences and I said, listen, I know the perfect person for you, I think you would take me more seriously. You want to think about that as you build relationships with other entrepreneurs that are going to introduce you to the investors that are going to be a part of your business. They want really strong and warm introductions. The final piece of advice is youth is in our favor. I mean, when we're young, first off, we have a lot of energy and a lot of passion. Sometimes it's a little bit naive, and that's okay. But it's really important to recognize that when you have that passion, that energy, investors are really excited by that because they want to invest in people, not just ideas. Really, 90% of the reason most investors invest in early stage companies is you. You and the team that you build and the people that you build. Your concept has to be there, but it really has to be about you. The second piece is that there's a lot of patterns of really young entrepreneurs that are doing really big things. Obviously, Facebook is one of the key ones, but you are also part of that pattern. Use it to your advantage, build that network now, and hopefully you will raise money in 6 months or less, not 11 months.